Warning. This video contains spoilers for DC Universe's Doom Patrol. Viewer discretion is advised. DC Universe is out and I paid for a year of it. This is DC Discussion. Readers, after the Puppet Patrol episode of Doom Patrol, I have been wanting something that's a bit more engaging from the show. While I did wet my whistle at the idea of Jane being an actual character with actual depth, I'm looking forward to episode 4 having a scenario that's both engaging and gives me more development over the course of the rest of the characters. And from what I've seen in the trailer for episode 4, I'm going to get that, especially since it's called Cult Patrol. So it's pretty obvious what that's going to be about. But I was raised on the mantra of never judge a book by its cover, and if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. AKA, let me stop assuming shit and talk about episode 4. So this episode opens up with the most less than subtle ass plot setup on the face of the earth, which, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not actually that mad about. I say that because it starts 17 years in the past in a suburban neighborhood in Salt Lake City, Utah, where a family is celebrating the first birthday of their baby boy named Elliot. Then it transitions to his 7th birthday. And outside of the fact that his parents let him get tattoos at that age on some white people shit, this happens.
In the beginning, there is the light, and the light created a shadow, and the shadow was good.
So this is a cult, and it persists for a while, with Elliot getting more writing on him as he gets older. All the while, his dad is watching thinking, wait, this ain't right. So when Elliot's 18th birthday comes around during the current timeline, also known as the sacrifice is finally ready type age, his dad tells him to run before his mom slits his dad's throat. Look, I just found a suitable way to keep Warner Brothers from demonetizing these videos. I'm not about to risk it all just so you can see some gore. If you want to see it, get the subscription service or go to China. Speaking of the current timeline, we're introduced to Willoughby Kipley, who's pretty much the Australian version of Constantine. I want to say that immediately makes him better than regular Constantine, because regular Constantine only deals with the supernatural. Kipley, on the other hand, along with also dealing with the supernatural, comes from a land down under, aka the land where everything that lives there wants to kill you. Instead of snowfalls, there's spider falls, and tarantulas are the size of fucking puppies. Anyway, he enters Doom Manor looking for Niles to help him with the cult, which is called the Cult of the Unwritten Book, but instead finds the Doom Patrol and asks for their help instead. He then explains that the cult's purpose is to summon a giant eye called the Decreator to destroy everything, and the only way they can do that is if they read from the book once it's ready. Now, if you're anything like me, which if you are, I have to admit I'm both flattered and absolutely terrified at the same time, then you don't really need help figuring out that the book isn't actually a book. It's a boy. An 18-year-old boy. With tattoos. It's Elliot. It's fucking Elliot. So after Kipley creates a portal with a cigarette to snatch Elliot away from his psycho mother, they convince Kipley not to kill him in order to stop the cult from summoning the eye, and suggest they seal the portal to the cult's dimension instead. So Crazy Jane, who at this point has Hammerhead as the main altar, volunteers to go to Spain in order to seal up the portal, and Cliff decides to join along for the ride, mostly to figure out why Jane has been so apprehensive of him lately. That's when we find out that Jane was a bit thrown off at the aftermath of Cliff's fight back in episode 3, and that the majority of the alters that have interacted with him so far, including Jane, kinda look at him in a different light now. And I'm not gonna lie, readers, while I was watching this, I couldn't help but to think, oh no. Oh no, they're going back to using Jane as a development tool for Cliff. Oh no. Because at first glance, that's what the interaction between the two of them looked like. Hell, they even went back to the whole I'm connecting with Jane to make up for not being with my daughter angle from the first scene with the two of them together in this episode. But I'm glad to report that that is not the case here. But we'll touch on that a bit later though. Meanwhile, while everybody else is on Elliot guard duty, we get some good development moments from the rest of the patrol. Larry and Element have a good heart-to-heart regarding destiny and responsibility, while the cosmic entity inside him lets him in on some information back when he was first interviewed by Niles. Cyborg and Kipley have a discussion about perception and doing what needs to be done in order to get the job done. And Rita takes a few good steps forward into the world of selflessness. You see, over the course of this episode, Cyborg has been using reverse psychology on Rita in order for her to willingly participate in trying to not only find Niles, but in trying to get her to look at the whole as a team and not be as selfish when it comes to helping people. Not necessarily my preferred tactic, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't efficient. Because while Cyborg's strategy was to slowly yet surely chip away at her, it comes to fruition a bit quicker because of Kipley's involvement when she executes Victor's attempt to get her to be more proactive in the form of literally talking Elliot off of a ledge once he learns that his life has pretty much been a lie. And can I just say that seeing Rita make this decision on her own accord was like one of the best moments of this episode for me? Because while I understand her abrasiveness due to her sometimes lack of control of her abilities, she really needed to prove to me that she can personally overcome this development stage for her. Especially since the majority of episode 2 was a bit of a setback with her regarding the situation involving Mr. Nobody. Now we can get back to Cliff and Jay, who've entered a church and discovered that the portal to the dimension of the cult is in the punctured hands of a priest. But the plan is then turned sideways when the church and the priest in question triggers what I assume is a memory responsible for Jane's altars in the first place, and Hammerhead tries to attack the priest as opposed to closing him off to the cult's dimension, teleporting both of them there in the process. It's then that we find out that Elliot's parents have actually ascended to the monarchs of the order, including the dad, who's still dead as fuck, and I find that continuity detail absolutely hilarious. But outside of the Queen Mother letting the two of them know that their attempts to guard Elliot or hide Elliot from their gaze have been like completely useless, and that their team is actually en route to the Doom Manor to like secure him as we speak, Cliff and Jade are finally forced to look at each other in the light that they see each other in, and the light that they really are in. That includes Cliff looking at Jane as the daughter that he never had a chance to raise, being looked at as the monster that Jane now perceives him in after the events of episode 3, and the fact that all that he is a brain stuck in a robot. It's pretty much the early 2000 existential meme made real. But it's not just Cliff. That's the best part. It's also Jane. We see how splintered her mind is, and we get more insight on what caused that splinter in the first place. The reaction that she had to the priest, along with what she dealt with the doctor in the past episode, proves that she's not just a plot device to further Cliff's development. She's her own character as well. Plus, now that Cliff has had this truth about how he perceives Jane plopped in front of him for him to see visually in the first place, it now can be properly addressed later on down the line so Cliff can figure it out for himself. Not to mention how they can both fix each other's perceptions of each other. Oh, and the cult's home dimension is in a Krampus-ass snow globe located inside Doom Manor. Because where else would it be? Speaking of which, Doom Manor is being attacked by members of the cult, and at this point Kipley has realized that enough is enough and it's time to kill Elliot. But because Rita is also not in favor of having Elliot killed, she incapacitates Kipley long enough for the servants of the cult to capture him, and they proceed to summon the Decreator right on the Doom Patrol's front lawn. So in order to stop them, the present team and Kipley proceed to... Oh, this is a two-parter. Well, fuck you too, Doom Patrol. Readers, this was a very nice palate cleanser for me after episode 3. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. We have an interesting scenario, dialogue that gets to the psyche of a lot of the main characters, and proper development for not only Cliff, but Jane as well, which is what I kind of always wanted. And it's thanks to the fact that I'm finally getting that, I'm gaining an appreciation for Jane a lot more than I did for like the first 2 episodes. Kipley has been an interesting yet good addition to the team, and with the next episode being called Paw Patrol, I'm definitely interested in seeing how this arc plays out. So with that being said, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below what you thought of episode 4 of Doom Patrol if you've seen it. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give one-time donations, you can find the link to my PayPal and my Ko-fi page in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.